And now, a second edition of Cancel Culture. And here's Cancel.
Hey.
I can't say here's Johnny.
Take it away, Johnny.
Okay? I have to say here's Cancel, all right? Maybe I can use...
No, I appreciate the effort. I'm kidding. Here's Cancel. Thank you. No,
It's very fitting.
no,
And Cancel Culture.
I like it. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, this is John Cancel here with Cancel Culture. Well, I'm here with my co-host, the legendary Wade.
I'm excited.
And my godson, Shane Cancel.
Yes.
And I hope everybody had a good week.
So you're a godfather?
Yes, I am.
How about it?
Yes.
That's why I can't understand you.
No, in our family, you know, all the godparents have to wash his feet. Every third Saturday, we have to check his transmission fluid in his cars, oil his roller skates, just stuff. Typical Godfather affair.
Wait, are you a godfather to anybody?
No, I'm
Not yet.
Nobody would trust me. They're happy that I don't sell them drugs. Nobody's gonna let me babysit. No. I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I'm always Uncle Mike, but I never got any of them in trouble. I always try to, stand back.
Wait, what do they think about your career?
Uncle Mike.
I kind of like it. I didn't fade by the side and just roll over and die because things got tough. I stuck with it.
He gives he has like 30, 40 nieces and nephews. He gives them all hula hoops and Captain Crunch styles.
Yeah, they actually donate to my art pieces too. They give me advice, and I make junk art too. I make little statues.
That's what they give you.
And dioramas. I've been in museums and things like that.
This is true. He's done some stuff like that.
Really?
A very interesting person. But let's begin the show. We got these little pleasantries aside.
All
with,
right.
The tweets of the week that'll be cut down.
Okay.
John and his lovely tweets.
Louis C.K. did an unannounced show in Philadelphia last week, and I gave him a great local joke. I said, what does a Philadelphia 76er fan do when his team has won the NBA championship? Turns off his Xbox. Then Louis C.K. said...
Oh, that'll put him down.
Then Louis C.K. said, how did you get my hotel room?
What was he doing?
Yeah, he wasn't playing with his Xbox, was he?
Wait a minute. Barry Manilow's gay? I bet there are a lot of ladies who are going to be really upset. But fortunately, they're all in the cemetery.
At the Copa.
Somebody asked me if I saw Fast and Furious 8. I said, is that the one where the mad doctor stitched people's faces to other people's asses? Then yes, I have seen it.
Butt face.
Don Rickles was the only comedian I wish I saw live.
Where?
No one was funnier. And I love how in the 80s he updated his act for the current 80s terms. He'd say things like, look at you, you hacky sack.
He was actually in a submarine movie. We were talking about Periscope, and he was in Run Silent, Run Deep with Clark Gable.
That's a good movie. Hey, I have a new joke book I wrote. It's self-published. It'll be on Amazon. Remember the movie Alive?
Yeah,
No.
when they ate the football team.
Yes.
In the Andes when the plane crashed and they had to eat their companions.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I have John Cancel's Alive joke book. Hey, remember Alive, the plane crash cannibalism movie? They had a McDonald's sandwich tie-in. It was called McUruguay Rugby Team Player with Cheese.
Did you hear about the cannibal who got married?
No.
He had a wife and 8 kids.
Very fitting.
And that's it for the second episode of Cancel Culture. Woo! Hey, do you remember the tagline from the Alive cannibalistic Uruguayan soccer movie?
What was that? It's Alive?
No, it's called Alive. The famous line was, I'm so hungry, I could have eaten a Uruguayan rugby team goalie. Wow. Hey, remember the food tie-in for the movie Alive? It was called Uruguayan Rugby Team Goalie Helper.
Holy hell.
Well, you're going to hell.
This guy
John, for
invested
that.
in a live.
They're coming.
What else we got?
Hey, it was 3 years ago today. They read my father's will. 3 years
I'm
ago
sorry.
today, they read my father's will. All I can say is, what the F am I going to do with 300 issues of Swank magazine and an organ grinder monkey? Plus, it was the same 300 issues. You know, the one with Ralph Malph on the cover?
From Happy Days. He was on the cover of Swank. Swank was a girly magazine
Yes.
that had black boxes over their private parts.
The last horror convention I went to before the quarantine, they had a Back to the Future reunion there. They had the Mayor Goldie Wilson from the movie. They had the guy who doubled for Crispin Glover in parts 2 and 3. And they actually had Marvin Berry, the guitar player from Back to the Future. And, well, I asked him, hey, did you get a lot of phone calls with the passing of Chuck Berry? And he said, no.
How about his brother? What was his brother's name?
Marvin Berry. And he goes, Marvin, Chuck, it's me, your cousin, Marvin Berry.
And the guitar he played was not put out until like 10 years later. That was the wrong guitar that Michael J. Fox was playing.
That's what it was. It was a 65 Gretsch.
I don't think he's playing much guitar now.
Hey, do you guys know what's an awful name to call somebody? Shit for brains. Because I know. My mom wrote that on my lunch bag every day of school for 16 years.
Do you think that? I think that's probably an old insult. You know, shit for brains.
I would wear that with a sense of pride. So
Last year, Jersey Shore, the famous TV show,
Yeah.
Snooki, the little pudgy girl on the show,
Oh yeah,
she was paid $32,000 to speak at Rutgers College, a famous college.
right in New Brunswick.
Yes.
I lived there.
Her advice to Rutgers students was, study hard, but party harder. And I was thinking, I heard that before. That was the same thing Horseshack said to me at a boat show I was at when I was a kid. Then I started thinking, it may have not been the real Horseshack, just one of the many Vegas Horseshack impersonators that were working the circuit at the time.
And that Rutgers University has a reputation for people ODing on alcohol and partying too hard.
Party hard,
that
man.
Yeah, that's like,
Thanks, Snooki.
a very inappropriate Snook, but I think she's cute.
Real quick, everybody in the room here, my friends here, right?
Yes.
If you liked the religious film, because Easter just passed, if you liked the film Passion of the Christ,
Love it.
then you're
Love
going
it.
to love
Feel good movie.
You're going to love Boss Baby.
Wait a minute.
My two favorite facts from Wikipedia. All right.
Yes.
There's a couple of facts, but this is a little of a story here too. Wikipedia has all the facts, and it can be self-edited. All right.
Anybody can put something in.
There's a famous horror film from the 80s called Freddy Krueger. It's called Nightmare on Elm Street: Dream Warriors.
Okay.
All right. And the band Dokken. They're a famous heavy metal band.
Yeah.
Rockin' with Dokken.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right. There's a line about the song that Dokken did for Dream Warriors, right? And the line says, in the song Dream Warriors, Kristen is being menaced by Freddy Krueger before being rescued by Dokken, who drives Freddy away with the power of rock.
I heard them too, and they drove me away. Okay.
That's so
and I'm
corny.
your girlfriend.
Right. Right. Yes. And,
Love Freddie. Love Freddie. He was the wild. How about when the girl came out of he came out of the TV? You remember that?
Pulled the TV over her head and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a famous band in the 80s called Winger.
Yes.
They had a song
Oh, yeah.
Kip Winger.
Kip Winger. She's only 17.
Deborah.
All these songs you can
Yes.
never do today.
Yes.
Right?
Not to be confused with Deborah, right?
Well, they were. Yeah, and plus the guy was like a handsome guy, and and all the girls liked him because of that.
Yes.
Well, instead of blaming him being a stupid pop sensation like a teeny bopper, all right, the band Winger blamed Beavis and Butthead for their decline. They blamed the animated show.
Before the word even came out, that the Beavis and Butthead were influencers in
Yes.
rock and roll and songs like that.
They did it.
They advertised ACDC.
Yeah, I guess that's so true.
And I believe it could make and break a band.
Well, here's what the bass player.
But they suck too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
As they would say, cornholio.
Well, here's what the bass player said from Winger. So we released a record and went out on the road, and that's when the floor fell off from under us practically overnight. Some guy came to the bus with a copy of Beavis and Butthead, and in it, they hung a nerd up by his underwear, and he wore a Winger t-shirt. Then Beavis and Butthead went to his house, and the character's loser family, including the dog, were all wearing Winger t-shirts.
Oh shoot!
That week, people stopped coming to our shows, and our record sales came to a complete screeching halt.
That's the power of animation.
R.I.P. Winger.
I'm sure that it also made a bunch of artists. I bet
Yes.
that that they were out there and mentioning it on the air. I'm sure that there was much many than Winger.
And my last tweet is this. 8 years ago, I bought my first smart TV.
Okay.
Smart TV. And a commercial came on for the Russell Brand remake of Dudley Moore's Arthur. Russell Brand's Arthur.
Sorry.
Yep.
Incredible. My smart TV became self-aware and drank Drano. And that's it for the tweets this week.
Hey!
That was the only time that I ever said, Liza Minnelli should be in this movie because that brand one, that was terrible.
Oh, yeah, awful. But hope you guys had a fun week. Last Thursday, I got my second Pfizer shot, okay, in my arm right here. And I'm not being disavowing people getting their shots. I believe, play it safe, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I got the first one 3 weeks earlier, 21 days earlier.
All right.
And my arm was just a little sore after the first shot. Like someone gave me a ginker, like a punch me in the arm there. Okay. So I go for the second shot. I'm thinking, all right, if it's like the first one, big deal. Okay, so I get the second shot. 8:30 a.m. Okay. 3 o'clock, I start feeling like a little like loosey-goosey. My elbows and my knees were just a little sore.
It wasn't the 6 shots you took?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
It felt like me. Nope. And I have
Loosey-goosey.
I have these edible suppositories,
Sure.
marijuana suppositories. And
Wow, yeah.
no, I'm kidding. But I
But seriously.
so I had to do a comedy show that evening. Okay, all right. I do the show. The show's over about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Okay, and it's real far away. It'd be 30 miles from my home.
Suppositories start kicking in.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Everywhere I looked, I saw a French steward hitchhiking. And
It's different than smoking.
yes.
You could say that.
Yes.
It's just another hole to me.
Oh, good God. All right. So
This is good. Family friendly, fun.
So
yes.
So I'm driving home.
Sorry.
I'm driving home. Okay. All of a sudden, I get the chills and the shakes really bad. I start feeling nausea. And I'm driving on these dark highways, dark roads of Bensalem, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and it was awful. It was really terrible. And I mean, it was. I thought, I'm not mocking anybody. Like I look like a paint can shaker at Home Depot. I was really, and my head, my head's going like back and forth as if I was having a seizure or Parkinson's disease episode. So I stop on a Wawa, and there's real.
You can say that when you're shaking.
Right. And so I'm freaking out, and the girl's looking at me, and it was a little cold out last Thursday.
What'd she say? Didn't I see you in Back to the Future?
Yeah. So. So I'm going. So
You're shaking.
and I couldn't control it. I was like doing the St. Vitus dance.
I had girlfriends like that.
Right. And she's looking at me, and because I'm dressed nicely, I have a suit, and I'm going, here's the change, right? And I'm going, boy, it sure got cold out, and I couldn't stop doing it. When I got to my truck, my keys couldn't go in the thing. It was as if I was faking it, but it was just I had no control over it. And I came home, and I
Wait a minute. So you can't even put the keys to unlock the truck, but you get in and then drive yourself home?
Yeah, well, I broke the window with a sledgehammer in my back pocket. I did get the key to fit. I got the key to fit. On the passenger, there's hair around it. So I get in the truck and I drive home. I'm freezing like a racehorse. right?
That's not an
I'm
expression.
I'm shaking like a sieve, and so I go home and I put the quilt over me. I turn the heat up, and man, it was awful. It's weird. I felt nauseous, but not throwing up or anything like that. Just sweats, and it was horrible. It was really bad, and I thought because I had Tammy, the Melissa McCarthy movie on TV, it wasn't that. It was the shot, and my parents' house I got, they got rid of the bathtub and they put a stall shower in. It's like a 5-foot long stall shower.
Okay.
Not a square. Well, it's about 3 inches deep. Did you ever get sick and you have to go to bed and just steam it up and just have the steam?
Sure.
Yeah.
Lots of places.
I put a washcloth over the drain, sat in 3 inches of water on steam.
Yeah.
And it just looked like a weird giant baby incubator. I'm sitting there going,
like they do in Japan or something.
Yeah, exactly. Something you take. Like, it looks like you'd seen a Russian movie where Steven Seagal comes in and he gives the guy an AARP card. So but all night long. The next morning I woke up and I felt like I was hungover and beat up. It was awful. Now, but he got the second shot.
Wait,
Yeah.
you did?
Yeah.
Pfizer?
I got the first shot. I stood in line for 8 hours at
Whoa.
in North Philadelphia by the black doctors, okay? And thousands of us were standing in line for hours, and around 3 in the morning, it started to turn into a party where everybody was dancing online and
COVID party.
doing the electric slide right there at 4 in the morning with people I've never known from. So
That sounds great.
It wasn't that bad. It was an experience, and I got the shot. And the next night, I slept like a baby because the anxiety of not having the shot, you
Went
got
away.
over that, and it was I was out like a light. So I go and get the second shot. The second shot isn't as exciting because you just go in and there weren't many people there.
Yeah.
And, I got it and I went wahoo, and everybody went.
Sir, please leave now. Yeah.
But after a while, I started feeling like really, not that right. And I couldn't get to sleep that night. I thought I was going to be able to sleep again like that. I couldn't get to sleep that night. I had, the restless leg or whatever it was. First time I ever had that. And I was broke out in hives. And I only do this like if I eat too much seafood or something like that. But I broke out in hives from that second shot.
Wow.
And they go away after 2-3 days.
Did you get a shot?
No.
I thought you were a healthcare first liner.
Yes. I did have COVID, though, for whatever that's worth. I don't know. I heard somebody say maybe you can't have kids. So I said,
ooh,
I don't know. Is it worth it? The survival rate's what, like 99.90-something%?
Yes.
I would honestly rather get COVID again.
I think those people
Maybe that's a
faked it.
controversial statement. But
I might have had it back in when it first was reported because there was one flu. I said, oh, I can't get it. I must be getting all that I remember as being different from other flus. And it was just around that time before we knew what it was, and we're scared.
Speaking of flus,
yes.
Taylor, we have one of our friends of the show, very funny comedian.
Very funny guy.
We have
Hilarious.
Great tweets.
our friend Chip Chantry has called in to congratulate us on the show. Here you go.
Here's Chip.
Hey, John, it's Chip. I'm just calling to wish you good luck on your first show tonight. Break a leg. I know you'll be great. Yeah, I hope it goes off without a hitch. I hope nothing goes wrong. Like, I'm sure you've heard that story of when Mr. Belvedere sat on his own balls and they had to cancel production for the rest of the week because he was really in pain because he sat on his own balls. I hope nothing like that happens to you. I'm sure it won't. But I just don't want anything bad to happen. I'm sending positive vibes. I'm sure it will be great. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Like, I'm trying to think of another example, but, again, like that time that Mr. Belvedere sat on his own balls and they had to cancel production. So just don't do anything like that, and I'm sure it will be great. And just don't sit on your balls like Mr. Belvedere did. All right, buddy. Take care.
Did you say Mr. Belvedere sat on his own balls?
You know what?
That's a famous story. You never heard that?
What was he dressed in?
Christopher Hewitt, who enjoyed the company of Bennigan waiters,
Okay.
on the show, they were filming one time, and he sat down on the actor's chair that wrote his name on the back, and he sat on one of his own testicles, and it was excruciating pain. He fell over flat on his face, and they had to shut down production for 2 weeks because of it. And it's funny though, it got out. Like they couldn't have said he had a hernia or he had bad Thai food.
Oh my God!
Right. And
So
that's
it
what
went
happened.
It went from tentacle difficulty to testicle difficulty.
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
But one of the difference between this show and our last show is that we have to have sponsors.
Oh, yeah, I hear you got some new sponsors.
Yes, and here's I'm gonna, it wasn't the easiest thing in the world to solicit. I had to go from door to door to say, hey, you want to appear on the Cancel Culture podcast, and here we go.
Hi, I'm Del Monte of Del Monte Dodge of Downingtown. Do you have an old car and need cash now? Because me and my team at Cash for Cars will buy your car for cash. Do you have a junker in your driveway? We'll buy it. Did you crash your car on the way home from a custody drop-off because you spilled a Moose Tracks milkshake in the lap of your newly pressed chinos? We'll buy your car. Has your recently deceased mother been reincarnated in the form of an antique car who communicates with you through the radio? Well, brother, I got 2 words for you. Cha-ching. It doesn't matter if it's a jalopy or a lemon or a gas-guzzling shitbox. I'm willing to take it off your hands for cold, hard cash. And I know what you're thinking. Del, you'd have to be crazy to give out so much cash for cars. And to that I say, if it's crazy to spend every last cent of my hard-earned money acquiring a legion of cars that I hope to turn into sentient beings who will one day appoint me as king of the cars, well then, buddy, I must be freaking crazy. So go to www.cash4cars.com today. That's www.CA$H, the number 4, CARZZZZZZZZZ.com and get cash for your car today.
And that was Del Monte's car.
What a stand-up guy.
All the way from Downingtown.
Absolutely. You take all your shit boxes there and we'll hook you up.
But during the quarantine, everybody spent a lot of time stuck in their houses. Okay.
Yes.
And Wid has 3,800 VHS tapes. Well, Wid's brought up the other day. He was talking about the film by Schwarzenegger, starring Schwarzenegger, called The Running Man. It was from 87, 88.
Yeah.
I think it came out. It came out the same year, like 6 months after Predator.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
It's really weird. 'Cause
They were actually made almost simultaneously.
And it's weird because Predator, he's a big hulking soldier. Arrgh! And in this movie, he's like wearing a laser suit, a red suit.
Right.
But Wid was enthralled by the movie, how it was like a cheesy 80s version of how today would look. And it was. I told Wid that, you watch it now, I thought it was a piece of crap, right? But in the 80s, it was very entertaining.
If you look, it's supposed to take place in 2019.
Is it really?
Yeah.
2017 to 2025, because he gets out of jail after a couple of years. But I find it, I found it kind of charming because of the casting mostly. Because the cast, Arnold's always going to be Arnold, and they just gave him a lot of puns, okay,
Absolutely.
to say, and to be Arnold,
Right.
And they came out with, with that story that was actually based on a story made by Stephen King.
The premise of the movie?
The premise of the movie was out there by Stephen King. It
Wow.
wasn't, and Stephen King was actually mad at the screenwriter for making, for the Running Man as crazy, violent as it was.
Was
And
he happy with any of his books made into movies that weren't his?
I like his movies that are made into books.
Like The Shining, I heard he wasn't happy with.
No, but he liked the TV version of The Shining. With Stephen
I
Weber.
did. I like that too.
But it's my favorite Stephen King film is Christine with the car.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought I like that.
Delaware Destroyers.
Also, too, is when you if you read his books, the books the movies are based on.
Yeah.
90% of the books have sad endings, like the hero gets killed. It's creepy and
Which is
weird.
not what you expect.
He did,
you
and
know?
that was his. That's what it was about. The Stephen King novel was about an everyman who was like malnourished, and he had to do this, and his wife was turning tricks to make money, and the dystopian, is that how you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that, dystopian society that was there then. So he has to go on this TV show, and and maybe get killed. And the people who are there are all like very much fans. It reminded me, of football fans or mostly wrestling fans.
And something I thought was, I never realized this. You think of Schwarzenegger because they always film from the ground up, like looking up at him. He looks gigantic. He always looks really big.
Yeah. Well, that's the angles. They understand.
In the
that.
movie, Jesse the Body Ventura, who's in it, who's also in Predator with him.
And a wrestler.
And a wrestler.
And a governor.
Big time. And the governor.
In real life, Jesse Ventura was 6'5" and weighed almost 300 pounds. They couldn't really film next to Schwarzenegger because he dwarfed Schwarzenegger.
Oh, man.
Right?
Well, you hear that about like Tom Cruise, being
Yes.
Oh, even his ex-wives say how short he is. And,
he sleeps in a manila envelope.
Yeah.
But the movie, the one thing I thought was berserk about the movie was, so he has to face off against 4 or 5 super
villains.
Villains.
They're called stalkers.
Stalker, right?
Yes.
These are the guys who are tough and have different gimmicks of how to kill you.
Yes.
And that's what keeps the #1 TV show in the movie, the #1 TV show during all this dystopian sort of everybody's hiding away and the government kills you. But
there's a guy with the flamethrower.
That's Jim Brown.
Yes.
Now that's Jim Brown, and he gets demised by Schwarzenegger taking out one of his
hoses.
Because he's the flame guy. I forget what his name was, but he gets killed by being blown up, and Arnold gets to say, "You need a match," and then he throws the match at him. Like he still had matches back in
what a hothead.
So. But the coolest guy who dies is Buzzsaw. Okay.
Is he the guy with the light bulb, Christmas lights on his head? And he
no,
sings opera?
that's Electro.
Okay.
But the guy who is the Buzzsaw, he's on a motorcycle with a buzzsaw swinging it like this. Like he's. But somehow, because Arnold is he figures a way to get the guy off the motorcycle, and he comes and he switches hands with and he has the buzzsaw, and then he looks at the guy and he gets it right between right between his crotch.
This is the scene I have an issue with,
and he lifts it up and goes, "I've got a split." Okay,
it was so terrible, right?
Oh.
Now,
come on!
So they're having like a battle with a big giant chainsaw.
Yeah.
And all right. Now, you see in movies, too, when a guy gets kicked in the groin.
Yes.
And he goes, and his voice always goes like 10 octaves higher. Oh, that didn't hurt. And falls over. When Schwarzenegger hits him with the chainsaw, the guy's like, "I'm going to get you." He's like, "I'm going to get you." And when Schwarzenegger hits him with the chainsaw in the groin, the guy goes, "Oh, oh, oh." That can't happen. The only reason your voice will go high if anything your groin is if you're castrated before you go through puberty. But the guy goes, "Oh."
Maybe he sat on his own balls. No, okay.
Can I read off 3 quotes from the movie? And I just want to see if this is good dialogue.
A dialogue.
Fans of the cancel culture are waiting with bated breath for this.
All right, first.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Schwarzenegger is responding. "You bastard, drop dead. I don't do requests." "Killian, here's your Sub-Zero. Now plain zero."
Nobody gets that line. Sub-Zero, that was...
Uplink Underground. Uplink Underground. If you say that one more time, I'll uplink your ass, and you'll be underground. And I'll end on that note. That's all I got.
Sub-Zero was played, the bad guy was played by Professor Tanaka, okay, the famous wrestler, who was in there with the other famous wrestlers. His famous thing was that he was of Asian descent, and he would, play that up. But his gimmick was to throw salt in the eyes of his opponent.
Yes.
I guess hitting him with a chair isn't as good.
I was dating
throw salt in their eyes.
I was dating a professional Steve Nixon impersonator at the time.
Okay.
And in the movie, the head of the underground who helps out Schwarzenegger, played by Mick Fleetwood, and his assistant was played by
Dweezil Zappa.
Frank Zappa's son.
Yeah.
And his name in the movie was Stevie. It was.
And they really cut him out bad. I mean, he has like 2 lines in the whole thing, Dweezil. But he's a kid, and you can tell that it was like sort of the casting was unbelievable. I mean, Jim Brown as the you know, as the guy who has a James Bond jetpack. Did you remember that? And a flamethrower at the same time. Okay, and he was one of the greatest football players of all time.
Yeah,
You know, and they had also had the singer, the guy who plays Dynamo. He was in that movie, The Wanderers. Remember?
This guy's talking about. It's a big fat bald guy who was in Stirkray. He looked like George Animal Steel. He looked like King Kong Bundy.
Right. And,
Okay.
And he died real young. He was an opera singer.
But he went to MIT. He was a computer genius. He was an opera singer, a very legit.
He started out as a
opera
janitor,
singer.
solved a problem on
In
a
the 80s,
chalkboard.
instead of a pager, had a refrigerator.
He came in and he would sing Mozart, okay, and then shock you and electrocute you to death. Okay, that was his. That was his. stalker thing.
It was his M.O. Zart.
But he was a. I mean,
That was pretty good.
This guy was
that was good. That was pretty creative.
with that electricity stuff. You got a lot of outlets. But he went to MIT, and he was also an Olympic class wrestler. But the poor guy died at 34 from a heart attack. You know, right after he made this movie. And you think, what an overachiever! I mean, he taught computers. He sang Mozart. He played it with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He bought a chocolate lab and he ate it.
But he
Yes. I didn't want to laugh at that, but that was really
But-
funny.
My dad knew him. He was a plumber for him, and he asked my dad if he could make gravy come out of all his faucets.
But it's kind of cool how this movie it predicts
What did your dad say?
reality shows.
Can do. Wait,
It predicts reality shows because it is a reality show.
and the
That's
famous,
true.
And wait, the famous show
Models?
it gave birth
Influenced.
to influenced.
Oh, American Gladiators. American Gladiators was caused because of this. Because
That's cool.
American Gladiators. It's the same show. You have to go through a gauntlet of steroided out bodybuilders firing tennis balls at you, and
he always wears. You know what the Gladiators wore? That's what poor Arnold Schwarzenegger had to wear in this. He had to wear a yellow jumpsuit that his junk was out there for the world to see. Mr. Universe himself.
I'm sorry, I've only cut you off. And the movie seemed to me like a glorified TV movie that they put violence in so it could be released in the theaters.
Well, that's because of the director. The director was Glazer from
Paul Michael Glazer.
Paul Michael Glazer from television. And Schwarzenegger himself said, "What is this guy? This guy made it into a TV show." He goes, he didn't know how to direct. He never directed any other. He might have directed one of your monkey movies or something.
Oh,
like that.
actually, I have a Paul Michael Glazer story.
Okay, yeah,
Please share.
I'd like to hear. He was the director of this, and he went in over his head, and that's why it didn't make as much money as
Because
Predator.
the one word people describe the cancel culture podcast is current.
No, well, you know how current it is? They're right now making a remake of Running Man. Right now, and they're going to be more truthful to the original
yes.
story.
The Paul Michael Glazer, when I lived in California, I got picked to play a hotel security guard on the TV series Las Vegas, starring James Caan.
Wow, is that current?
And the episode I was on was directed by Paul Michael Glazer.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he came up to me and he said, because I had a vintage sharkskin suit on.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Vegas, all right?
Hey.
Well, here it's 2010 or hell.
Yeah.
He goes, that suit jacket's got to go.
Oh.
All right. And I'm like, oh, all right. And but I met him,
And
and it was kind of irksome because he didn't say it really friendly. And then I kind of smiled. About 3 years later, he got a big DUI.
well, and also
It's nice not to be vindictive or, you know.
Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, he didn't do too many things after the Running Man, though. In the movie world, he did. He went back to television where that was much more.
Yeah,
his,
he did Starsky and Hutch go to Mars.
But I think that Schwarzenegger at this time was probably a big prima donna. I mean,
The Schwarzenegger.
and it couldn't have been the writer. The writer was a guy named Stephen E. DeSouza. Okay.
Yeah, you might not recognize it that way because it's pronounced. But if you watch every one of these major action films from '85 till 2005, you'll see Stephen A. That's D apostrophe Azosa. Is that how it's pronounced? But
Okay.
Stephen E.
Listen,
D'Souza.
listen what this guy did. And he's from.
Here's one of the the screenwriters, okay, who is in the $2 billion club. Like his
Wow.
movies have made $2 billion. He's one of
Sure.
of a few. He's right here from Philadelphia. He's from Philadelphia, and he's of Jamaican and Portuguese descent. Is that kind of wild? And he was born here, and he helped. He started out on television doing $6 Million Man, writing scripts for that, for Knight Rider. And he went on to write Commando, Die Hard. Did you ever hear that one? Die
Yes,
Hard?
I did.
Yeah. Judge Dredd, okay? And Laura Croft,
He did Dunstan Checks In, Dr. Fellacio's Car Wash Sluts.
Yeah. But with
I'm more familiar with those works.
with all his accolades, he got the 1991 Razzie. You know what a Razzie is, guys, right? A
It's,
Razzie
it's
is when
some sex act.
It's like the.
I got 2 Razzies on prom night. Oh, don't
A
tell
Razzie.
nobody. It's something to do with olive oil and a rubber glove.
It's an award like the Oscars or the Grammys that is given for the worst. Okay.
Oh yes, I've heard of this.
Okay, they're called Razzies, and like
It's
every bad movie.
a
you can think
raspberry.
of, yeah, will be up there exactly, and
Little
it's by
razzle-dazzle.
it's by the people in Yale and Harvard and things like that. So it's but he was nominated for the 1991 worst screenplay,
For what movie?
Hudson Hawk. Okay.
What's that
Hudson
movie
Hawk,
about?
And
It's Shane.
that is a famous blockbuster bomb. Okay, that's
Every 10 or 20 years, a movie comes out that becomes a running joke.
Yes.
yes.
Before this, there was a
exactly.
movie called Ishtar with Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, and
Elaine,
it was really lame too because people would use it descriptively, and it's so corny and stupid. They go, "Oh yeah, that my Chrysler K car is the Ishtar of
man.
cars." Right?
Yeah.
It's like lame saying something corny like that. It's
Yeah.
like the guy who says it's wearing like a tuxedo T-shirt and a bowler hat and saying, doing Groucho like, that's the name of that tune. Well, in the '80s, it became Hudson Hawk, which
Yep.
actually isn't. I mean, I've seen things just as bad, but
That doesn't make that movie good.
It's a Bruce Willis movie. He plays a cat burglar, and these evil European guys grab him, and he has to steal a certain diamond or.
It's
thing.
very confusing.
Right?
Very confusing.
Wow. Okay.
It has one of the worst lines I've ever seen in a movie. Now you just went off the Schwarzenegger lines from Predator and
Yeah.
Running Man, right? In this film, it's the worst line I've ever heard in a movie ever. The bad guys attacking Bruce Willis
Okay.
up on a wooden platform above in a castle, and the guy goes, "Vroom," and 2 swords comes out of each one of his arms, and he's like hitting Bruce Willis with them.
Yeah,
Bruce Willis
right.
is deflecting them.
Like martial arts
Yeah,
stuff.
and the guy's a British guy with brown hair and a mustache, and Bruce Willis throws him into a door, and the guy has both swords stuck on his own neck, embedded in the door, right?
Yeah.
Like he has himself in a chokehold with both arms,
Right.
So Bruce Willis slams the door, and the guy goes falling forward, and he cuts his own head off.
Yeah.
Here's the line.
He should have quit while he's ahead.
No, that's too obvious.
Oh.
That's too obvious. If that would have worked, he says this line. Oh, it looks like you won't be going to that hat convention next month.
Woo!
And I'm like, holy shit! You have a what do you call it? An easel with the black magic marker.
Let's end the show here.
The
Oh
show-
my
right?
God.
And the guy should got a Razzie Award for 20 years after that.
Wow. Wow.
For that line.
I think that
Really
that could
quick with
be
bad
one of
lines.
the worst.
John, there was one that you told me, and granted, I've never seen a single Steven Seagal movie, but probably 10, 15 years ago, I can't get this out of my head.
Oh.
You told me that there was I don't know if it's a monologue or something in a movie about his dad selling spoons.
It was I'll tell real quickly because it's a by the way too it's called Out for Justice, Steven Seagal movie. He
Okay.
plays a cop, and his partner gets killed by an evil mobster, a drugged out mobster, right? So the cops, Seagal leading the cops, and the mafia are out to get this guy because this guy is going to have the cops come down on the mafia. So the mafia has to get this drugged out crackhead. Okay, right? So in the film, Seagal is walking down the street, and Seagal is 6'5". He's a Jewish guy putting on an Italian accent, right? And they're,
in a kimono.
yeah, and they're walking through an Italian neighborhood, and with his buddy, who's now in the mob, and he's a cop, but they're on the same side trying to get the bad guy. All right, his Italian friend says, "Oh, imagine this. Look at this." He goes, "You want your path in life? I want mine. I do what I do, and you do what I do." And Seagal goes, "Yeah, the neighborhood's really changed. It's changed so much." He goes, "Yeah, tell me about it." He goes, "I'll never forget. My father came here from the old country. I used to walk around. He had no money. He had a little cart with a big round sharpening stone on it and a little bell. And he'd ring the bell and say, 'Bring out your knives. Bring out your scissors.' And he'd make money sharpening knives and scissors." Right? And the Italian guy, friend, says, "And what happened?" He goes, "Times changed. People started buying plastic knives and plastic scissors and put them out of business. I never heard that bell ring again."
Oh my God.
Now, I'm old enough to remember that there used to be guys that drove around your neighborhood, and they had, like, ding dong, and that was the that
Bring
was
out your
the
kids
guy,
to be
the sharpener guy.
circumcised. Circumcise your kids.
Yeah.
It's me, Harry the circumciser.
Yeah, I'll keep the tip.
Ew.
Okay.
This just got weird.
No, I'm sorry. I know. I didn't.
Edit.
No, we were talking about I just want to say one thing about the Running Man. The guy who steals the whole show
Oh man.
is Richard Dawson. Okay?
Okay.
Richard Dawson.
The
Everybody
host.
knows him as Corporal Peter Newkirk.
Yeah, everybody. No, he's known for
He's known for Family Feud. He was
Family
the-
Feud.
Oh
Uh,
sure.
But he was also, I mean, he started out.
Wasn't he very inappropriate on that show with the guests?
Yes, he was very inappropriate, and he started out as a comedian. Okay, he used to call himself Dickie. Okay,
Dickie Dawson.
Dickie Dawson, and then when he got a little older, but at 21, he did his first television show on the Benny Hill Showcase.
Oh, really? I never heard
yeah.
that.
Benny Hill Showcase. It was like an amateur night in 1954 and that they showed on BBC.
Right.
And he
What
was
does that
on
stand for?
What does
Benny Hill.
What does BBC stand for?
British Broadcasting.
Oh.
Oh,
That BBC.
Shane.
British
That's
broadcast.
not the BBC I know.
Sorry.
Yeah, the BBC. I'm sorry. You know, they do all those things from the Thames. Everything you
Yes.
see on PBS,
Yes.
okay, is
Yeah,
from
weird.
frickin' BBC. But he was also on Jack Benny, Dick Van Dyke, and he was in a movie called King Rat, and that's why he got the Hogan's Heroes.
You know what's weird too is he had like it's weird. People in the '60s had this weird like Moe haircut. It was like all come forward and banged across the front, but he's not a likable guy.
No,
you know,
apparently not.
No, I didn't hate the guy, but like, what was sort of he was like the movie Oliver, like a charming Cockney accent. "Hello, governor. Let's go out and circumcise some chickens and blood pudding and meat pie." Right? It just didn't make it. It's not likable. Not a charming guy.
No.
And they made him host of a game show. And he just would kiss women. "Come here, lady. Give me a little kiss." There. "His survey says, right,
Yeah.
right."
He was, he was out there being what he was. In his personal life, he was married to the Marilyn Monroe of
Britain.
of Britain. Diana Doris, okay? Diana Doris, a beautiful woman who, just...
Yeah, I read about her. She was. It's every country had their own blonde bombshell.
Yeah.
And America had a couple, like Mamie Van Dorn and the girl from Law and
Jane
Order.
Mansfield.
Jane Mansfield. It's always a big-chested girl with dyed blonde hair. This Diana Doris was like that version over there.
Yeah.
And she was like naughty and and she'd be like a bus
Right,
stop.
she did a lot of little sex
thing.
innuendo comedies. But she was on the cover of Sgt. Pepper.
That's
She was
right.
actually on the cover of
And
Sgt. Pepper. And she and Richard Dawson were married for about 6 years. They had a couple kids. And then they got divorced. And then his next wife was a contestant, okay, on Family Feud that he met.
Really?
Wow.
A woman called Gretchen Johnson. And they were married from the 80s until the end of his life.
Well, that Diana Doris lady, the last thing she ever did, like 1984, she did an Adam Ant video, and she was dying of cancer, and she was very voluptuous when she doing this. Like,
Right.
She looked like a broomstick. It was very awful.
Oh man.
But real quick, I'm not being
right.
I want to no. What do we have here? This is another audio bit. Not bit. Oh, gosh, never said it like that.
Here's our next bit.
Yes.
Strap in.
Here's our next.
Here's our next.
Commercial announcement.
Yes. One of our sponsors.
Not a bit.
One of our sponsors. They came all the way from Downingtown.
Ready? Here's our second sponsor of the show. We're pulling tons of money.
Yeah. What?
Are you looking for a place with good food and great beer?
Yeah.
Where you can sit back and watch the big game without fear of being attacked by a swarm of angry hornets? Then come on down to the newly reopened TJO Tipples, now with 95% less hornets than ever before. Enjoy half-price appetizers every day from 5 to 7, $2 domestic drafts during every Phillies game, and the peace of mind that comes along with not having to worry about being overtaken by a horde of enraged wasps. If you're looking for a fun, relaxed atmosphere with over 100 flat-screen TVs, drop into TJO Tipples, sign our attorney-approved liability waiver at the door, and before you know it, you'll be getting a basket of our award-winning onion rings from one of our friendly and experienced waitstaff, all of whom are equipped with EpiPens in case a throng of pissed-off hornets decide they don't like the cut of your jib and relentlessly bite you until you're rendered a bleeding, sobbing mess on the barroom floor. The Tri-State area's #1 sports bar is back, with only slightly increased prices to offset the costs associated with thousands of wasp-related lawsuits. So come on down to TJO Tipples at 143 Main Street, between TJ's Flowers and O-Tipples Pest Control, and get some bar bites without the bug bites.
That was TJ Nipples. They're a very good sponsor there.
And
They're nice
listen,
people there. Nice
for all our
people.
listeners, for all our fans, you can catch me this Friday, 4 to 9 at TJO Tipples. Come out and say hello.
Yes, Shane will be with the Cancel Culture action team, handing out T-shirts and swizzle stick makers. But we have another call. Cancel Culture is also known as the captain of wrestling. We love wrestling. We're all captains.
Love wrestling.
Right?
Love it.
But WWE, WWF, it's changed names several times.
Yes.
But it's are you a fan of wrestling?
I am. I'm more of an amateur fan.
Are you?
I'm just getting into it because and learning it through films like The Running Man, like how cool, that Professor Tanaka
Young.
was,
Yeah,
and how cool, that all those wrestlers were. I can look back in retrospect.
Well, on our last episode, we talked about the Fabulous Moolah and Mayo, but I got a call about that.
Yeah.
Really?
Thank you for calling World Wildlife Fund. This call may be recorded for quality assurance. To make a donation, press 1. For questions about a previous donation, press 2. For other member service requests, press 3.
Thank you for calling World Wildlife Fund. This call may be recorded. My name is Drake. May I have your last name and zip code, please?
Hi, Drake. My name is Richard Schroeder. I'm actually the president of Schroeder Developers. We build houses in and around South Dakota. I don't know if I'm calling the right place. I saw a post on Facebook.com, and it was for it was basically saying that a tarantula named Bing the tarantula was going to be euthanized, even though it was good with children and animals, and this number was listed. So I'm kind of confused. I just want to make sure that I'm not being had. I know there's been a lot of talk about fake news recently, with Macedonian hackers influencing the election. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm being had. I just need somebody to confirm that for me, because I don't have time for this nonsense. I run Schroeder Developers.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let me take the name of that tarantula in question.
Okay. Yeah, it was Bing, B-I-N-G, the tarantula.
Okay.
Probably they think WWF is not wrestling.
I know, it's an interesting name. I love your name, Drake.
Yes, definitely. I know. So tarantulas are definitely an endangered species, and they're one that we have an ongoing project for. I'm actually just not seeing anything in my notes or in our files about a case with Bing the tarantula. I know usually when there's an event like this, we at least receive some kind of brief, something gets mentioned, we see something. I had taken a moment to search the World Wide Web. I'm not even seeing a news report on this. I don't want to definitively say that there's no such tarantula, but I have a hard time believing it at this point.
Yeah, okay. Well, then I'm just going to ignore it completely. I just don't like when people say that things should be killed just because they're ugly to others. You know what I mean? Like, I come into contact with a lot of ugly people in my day-to-day life, and I don't think that they should die. So, I mean, it's just...
Right.
I thought if it could help make a call, I would, but it sounds like I've been had.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to definitively say so, but if it's an effort that we had been involved in or sponsoring or we had endorsed, the staff would have been notified. We would have been told to expect to take calls regarding Bing the tarantula. This is actually the first I've heard about the case at all.
Okay. All right. Well, I really appreciate it, Drake. I'm sorry to waste your time like this. I know.
Sure.
I'm sure you have better things to do than talk about fake tarantulas. So, I really appreciate you taking the time. I really do.
No problem. If we could ever help more in the future, please do let us know. But I really appreciate your time at any rate.
Thank you so much again. And I'll make sure to think about tax time's coming up, and me and my accounting staff here at Schroeder Developers will probably be thinking about making some sort of donation. But I'll give you guys a call back if I'm interested in that.
No problem. We'd definitely be glad to help in that case, but once again, we thank you for keeping us in mind.
Thank you, Drake. And again, I love the name Drake. I like the rapper,
Yeah.
the coffee cake, and I like
Schroeder
you.
Developers.
You're a great guy. Thanks again.
Well, thank you. My mother chose it for the Explorer, but I know it's getting a lot of attention with hip-hop artists. I do occasionally hear about the Drake's cakes on the East Coast.
Who's Drake the Explorer?
I had one for breakfast this morning. It was really good.
Sir Francis Drake.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Where you
I'll have to
guys
see if they're
been?
in
Sir
my
Francis
area.
Drake.
Yeah.
And-
I'm sure you can
and-
find them online, although, I mean, I thought that we would be able to find, Bing the tarantula online, but, those Macedonian hackers, somebody, who's influencing this fake news. So, anyway, thanks again.
Certainly.
Oh,
Much
man.
appreciated. You have a wonderful day, Mr. Schroeder.
Now that was in response to our speaking about wrestling, and someone said, "Hey, I'm going to call the WWF about something."
It's nice to see the reach this show has.
Yes, very unusual.
I love how he slipped in Schroeder. How did...
Schroeder Developer.
It's a real company.
But Wade, you have glasses.
Yes,
I'm
crooked.
my friends call me an audio file.
That's not all they call you.
I heard that.
Anyway, that's why I have this ankle bracelet. Ladies, I have I collect. I love collecting interesting, famous audio bits, songs, interviews, routines, comedy routines, vaudeville stuff like that.
Yeah. I think Peter Sellers did that too.
Yes, it's great to listen to. It's so fun to put headphones on, go in your basement, get a hot toddy, put peanut butter on your feet, bring your dog in. It just feels good and relaxed.
Wait. What was the last part of that?
You put peanut butter on your feet and let your dog come in. Stray dogs, right? Right. It's great.
I've never tried it. Maybe I got to.
It's great. I have a Shetland pony that enjoys Quaker Oats taped to my body, but they.
But it turns you on, John.
Yes, but we're involved in comedy, and you like baseball.
Oh, I love baseball.
Right. Well.
It's crazy out there, that baseball.
Yeah, some of the there's some famous people in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Cooperstown.
Who never played baseball.
What?
Oh, yeah.
What?
They never played baseball. And the most famous ones is the famous comedy team of Abbott and Costello.
Oh, I was at Cooperstown, and I saw they have a display of them, and they have the tape running continuously.
Yes, and it's a famous tape called Who's On First.
Yep.
Okay. It was originally started in like 1920s. It was a husband and wife radio routine.
Yeah.
It wasn't written by Abbott and Costello?
No, it was 20 years earlier, but they incorporated it into their act. And I don't think
that's what made them famous, that routine.
It was in several of their movies and their TV shows, and it is very funny. It's just well written. I mean, when you watch them perform it, they're really into it. They walk up where they totally sell it, and
but they did it so many times.
Yes.
And
Yeah, I'm sure it's ingrained.
Yes. But
No.
I have a tape. There's some animosity growing between Abbott and Costello near the end.
Oh, yeah.
Different things
Money.
happen. and other issues. Abbott and Costello had other issues going on between them.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
I have a tape of the last time they performed Who's on First together.
Oh, you're kidding.
I do. All right, and here I'm gonna roll it right now. Okay. Abbott and Costello. The last time there's animosity going on between them.
Wow, this is legendary.
Yeah. Friction.
You know, strange as it may seem, they give ball players nowadays very peculiar names.
What do you mean? What kind of names?
Nicknames.
Like what?
Well, now on the St. Louis team, here we have who's on first, what's on second, I'm banging your wife on third.
What? Wait. What's their names again?
You know, who's on first, what's on second, I'm banging your wife on third.
Wait a minute. Who's the guy on third base?
I'm banging your wife on third. Anyway, you know, we got other ball players too. We got a full team.
What?
You know, like, we got our shortstop.
What's the shortstop's name?
Your firstborn son isn't yours.
What?
You know, who's on first, what's on second, I'm banging your wife on third. Your firstborn son's not yours. On shortstop, we got a fully packed team.
Wait a minute. This isn't what we rehearsed. What?
Wow, that was great.
Wow, he admitted banging his wife what, right on stage?
Listen,
Now, that Abbott.
see, I thought it was all money problems, like you said. But might have been a little deeper.
But, you know, I guess they were well, together so long that that sort of stuff, that's how it happens.
Listen, what's mine is yours, and
and
they were #1 box office attraction for years and years, the Abbott and Costello.
So was
they
Costello's
made
wife.
millions on their routines because they didn't have to write too much because, you know, they already had the little routines.
and they stole people's bits.
now we have a couple of minutes left on the show.
Yeah.
This video has. Now I remember seeing it years ago, and I forgot about it.
This was a YouTube sensation when YouTube first came out, too.
Oh, the
10
evolution of
10
dance.
years ago, 3.6 million views. And I don't know what it's from. It looks like some crappy 70s
It's
show.
a woman who had a TV show, like a closed cable show.
Yeah, public
closed
access.
circuit, public access. And she would bring on a different religious thing. But she ran the show, the woman who's playing the piano.
All right. This woman, she's a bit of a heavy-set woman with a blue dress on. But she brings out, like, local people to sing good, clean Christian songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, she brings a guy out named John Dacre, D-A-K-E-R.
John Dacre.
All right. And I don't know who he is, where he's from.
Dacre, I barely know her.
It's an old guy. It looks like a guy who, like, sold insurance in the 30s.
Yeah, he does not look like a professional singer at all. You'll see.
But here it is.
Time for me. This year, I have made 55 years teaching in this town. And for the students on this show tonight, go to the First United Methodist Church. That includes me.
She loosen up before the show here?
Methodist Church, Reverend Jones, Bill Jones opened our show last time, and he's not here. And I all go to.
Wow, she is slurring her words like.
My name is John Dacre.
Oh my God.
Lord is risen today. Hallelujah. Sons of men and angels say hallelujah. To your voice and triumphs high. Hallelujah.
Wow.
And the camera zooms in on his face.
This guy's very robotic, but he'll try to smile when the camera zooms in.
But this is the part I like when he switches songs.
Hits your eye like a big pizza pie that's amore.
It kind of reminds you of that Russian guy going la 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 la. He forgets the words to that's amore.
Bells will ring, ting-a-ling-ling, ting-a-ling-ling, and the bell ring, more.
Oh my God, he missed his cue.
She can play the piano pretty good.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, compared to this.
He's making words up and there's subtitles. He's humming because he forgot the words.
You're in love when you know that you feel
It's over in 5 seconds.
but you
Thank
see
God.
like an old Monopoly, That's amore.
Oh my, that was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Well, people have taken
Wow, that's
people have taken that video and they added music to it, put a beat behind the what do you call it? They synthesize his voice.
Oh yeah, like remixed it.
Yes. What do you call that? That synthesizer. But that was fun this week of the Super Show. How about a round of applause for yourselves for coming out tonight to the Super Show? Legendary Widge, Shane Kensel here.
She really knew how to play piano, though.
She did.
And as a singer, when somebody's playing the piano like that, and she was not going to give him any mercy.
And you know
she
what's
was
good,
a good piano player.
Yeah,
and
but
he
you
was a
always
terrible
heard
singer.
that there's 3 stations, so you got to figure whatever they're putting on TV has got to be good. How did that guy not rehearse and they didn't realize he had no idea what he was saying?
And her back was turned. She couldn't see him flubbing everything.
And That's Amore is kind of a hard song to sing.
Yeah, but they at the end when he pulls out an AR-15.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly what he looked like.
But he looked very disgruntled. But I want to thank everybody in the show tonight.
Hey, thanks, John.
Our friend Christian Alsis, Chip Chantry, Legendary Widge, Shane Cancel.
JK?
Yes, thank you very much. Check us out on Facebook,
Wait,
Twitter.
Do we have a show title?
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that. Have something better than The Running Man.
How about I'll keep the tip?
All right, I'll keep the tip. Okay.
Okay.
I'll keep
like
the tip.
that.
And everybody, guys, thank you very much for supporting us, and we're moving along. And thank you very much. That's it for the show tonight. Thank you.
Woo! All right.